Welcome to a new episode of Crusty Old Comic Kooks. I am your host, Captain Buttcrack. Uh, there's one episode up so far, and a couple of people have been asking, how'd you get your name, Captain Buttcrack? Well, I got older and I got a beer gut, and it made my butt crack show every time I bend over. So a new hero was born. Okay, this is the second episode. Are you ready, Boxxy?
Zippity doo doo!
What was that?
My new catchphrase, man. I need a catchphrase. Zippity doo doo!
Isn't the phrase zippity doo dah?
Zippity doo doo!
I think you need to workshop that one, buddy.
Zabbity zabbity.
Anyway, on with the show.
Zippity doo doo!
Okay, let's just start. We'll just work on your catchphrase and you'll get one. Eventually that will take America by storm, I have no doubt. Okay, I recently went to Comic-Con, the famous San Diego Comic-Con, and as usual, I bought a bunch of crusty old comics, and so we're just gonna go through the ones that are of interest. So here we go. All right, notice this episode, I'm looking in the camera because our only fan told me, why don't you try looking in the camera? So here I am. Wooey, wooey, wooey. All right, first comic that I bought of interest. 3D Man. Oh boy, America loves children all over the world love 3D Man. 3D Man was supposed to be an actual 3D comic. That's why he's two colors. But they cheaped out at the last moment because it was going to be really expensive to make I hit the mic. I'm sorry. To make a 3D comic. So they didn't make it. So it's 3D Man, not in 3D. So his powers are, he has the powers of three men combined. That means he's three times as strong, three times as fast, and can make three times as good barbecue ribs or take three times as big of a shit. I don't know. It's mysterious. But I do love him because I love kooky, ridiculous, offbeat, off-brand heroes. And so I am a fan of the ridiculous 3D men. So here he is fighting the Cold Warrior, the crisis of the Cold Warrior. And a pretty derpy story all in all, but Richard Nixon is in it, and turns out he's a Skrull. Hey, that's an insult to Skrulls. And here we are with World's Finest, Dig Now, Die Later. This is a delightful cover and one of many DC covers where Superman or Batman are uncharacteristically acting like complete jerks. Here they are making Jimmy Olsen and Robin dig their own graves before they're going to kill them. Of course, it's always some kind of bait and switch trick to trick little kids and adults like me to buy them, and I always do. There are a lot. There's a whole meme that went around called Superman being a dick that was just covers and art of Superman being horrible in old DC comics. So those are actually really fun to look some of those up. They're quite hilarious. Um, anyway, so the comic has to do with someone's going undercover to get into the mafia, and then there's some kryptonite brainwashing that goes wrong. And so what does happen on the cover actually does happen in the comic. So I give it the Captain Buttcrack award for that. But I do like in the first opening of the comic here, it shows Batman, who's actually the evil crime boss disguised in Batman's outfit. But that looks real cool. I actually wouldn't mind if that's literally what Batman looked like, because old dude with the eye patch with the Batman costume, there is something there. Okay, next up, The Adventures of Kool-Aid Man. Is Scorch too hot to handle? Look at this cover. 75-cent value, so I bought it for $4. So if I keep it long enough, maybe it'll be worth $10 before I croak. But I do love when Mr. Kool-Aid Man, when Kool-Aid Man frowns, because he's usually a pretty happy guy, but he's got a big frowny face here. I was surprised to see how good the actual comic was. The art's great. Dan DeCarlo, not bad at all. And I absolutely, well, first of all, the story is Kool-Aid Man's got a Kool-Aid vault, which I can only assume is full of cocaine and hookers. And understandably, Scorch wants to get in there. But I absolutely love Scorch and his catchphrase, roast my toast, which he says whenever he gets too excited. Now that's a good catchphrase, Boxy. Why don't you come up with something like that?
Roast my nuts, man.
Okay. Cannot take criticism very well. So many things happened, and then it all culminates in a big surfing contest, as many things in life do. And of course, Scorch is trying to sabotage it because he can't stand Mr. Kool-Aid winning. And it backfires naturally, but he doesn't die. Somehow Scorch is waterproof too. I don't really understand how. A surprisingly good comic for a goofball Mr. Kool-Aid comic. But the thing that intrigued me the most was the Kool-Aid Vault, which actually isn't full of cocaine. It's full of neat toys, like some GoBots, Tonka Scramblers, Pound Puppies. But the Scorch Ball, which I was very intrigued by, and I looked up, and yeah, that's a real thing. They made a little foam rubber Scorch Ball. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any to buy. No idea. I saw one online, but it was already sold. So I have no idea what they're worth. But man, I would love to get my hands on a hot little Scorch Ball.
Roast my nuts, man.
Okay, Boxy, calm down. All right. Here's a fun one. The She-Hulk versus Man-Thing. I actually have a giant-sized Man-Thing. Actually, I have two or three of them. I always, whenever I see giant size is the name they put ahead of any title. Giant size, Captain America, giant size Spider-Man. But for some reason, they didn't notice how ridiculous that sounds when you're selling a giant size Man-Thing. Anyway, amazing cover, absolutely gorgeous. Gruesome art, the colors, the layout, the skeletons at the bottom, just really beautiful. And I'm a big Man-Thing fan. No, he's not a Swamp Thing ripoff. They're totally different. Although they came out around the same time. It's kind of like the Addams Family and the Monsters. No one was copying anybody, just happened to come out at the same time. So the Man-Thing is more like a half-conscious monster that reacts to stuff, mainly fear. He feeds off fear. He freaks out when there's fear. But he's half aware, not totally aware. Unlike the Swamp Thing, who's totally aware, like very conscious, can speak and talk, say normal things. Comic didn't last long. Too weird to relate to. Not for me, but I guess for fans. But I liked him, but a lot of people did not, and so he was canceled, but he never fully went away. He shows up here and there, like in the She-Hulk, just to fight the She-Hulk. Okay, and here's one of my favorite comic book ads, the No ad. They couldn't sell that ad space, or maybe an ad fell through at the last minute, but they still have to make all the blocks fit, because this is no Photoshop. This is people laying stuff out, print. So they had to put something in that space, and so they put a little picture of Spider-Man, which this shows up from time to time in comics, and I always love it. Okay, now this is not alcohol. I'm drinking vodka. I'm drinking white Crystal Pepsi. Lord, give me strength. All right, now for... I picked this up when I saw it immediately because the cover is so friggin' bananas. World's Finest 305. Look at this cover. What is going on? Salvador Dali. It's Superman's face flew off. It's on a box. Batman's face is turned. He's like spaghettified. Like truly a spectacular cover. Super weird. In the story, Superman and Batman fight the mighty Mushroom Man and get real high and flip out.
I know that guy. I'm in a Facebook group with Mighty Mushroom Man. Good dude. I like this cover too. Oh man, I've been there. I've been there.
Anyway, the art inside is also not awful, wonderfully nuts. Very artsy. So artsy sometimes it's actually difficult to read. And the artist is Trevor Von Eden, who is a great Guyanese artist, great Guyanese American artist who drew Black Lightning, Batman, Green Arrow, and lots of stuff. Normally his art does not look this bananas. Moving on, Battlestar Galactica. Now, I am a big Battlestar Galactica fan. I adore the original series. I personally think it's better than Star Wars, but that's just me. But the comics are actually pretty darn good, which isn't always the case for TV tie-ins. I love this splash page, the first page, because the humans are getting fat because robots are doing everything for them. Sound familiar? I adore that delivery robot and the rolling trash picker upper. First inside cover ad is gorgeous too. It is a gold Cylon with a space age free beam shooting off of his chest. I would love to have had this as a kid. I love it now. I'd love to have it now. Goes for about 50 to 100 cubits unboxed on eBay. All right, another cool ad in the back cover. Banana Talkies. Banana walkie talkies. How amazing is this? I'd love this as a kid. Um, so this is a semi-common ad. I don't know how Chiquita, I don't know how many they made of these or what the goal was to make money off them or just to get kids excited about Chiquita bananas, but I definitely need one of those.
Who are you gonna call on a banana talkie?
I guess I'll call you.
Breaker, good buddy. This is Foxy Boxy. We got a bear in the air. Flush your space cake down the crapper at the pickle park on your next 10-100. Come on back now. I'm gonna put the hammer down. Over and out from the big zippity-doo-doo.
You know, starting to grow on me. Here are the actual banana talkies. They're hard to find and not cheap. $165 from the listing I saw. All right, here is a sweet Jack Kirby Captain America, the king size annual, which is a direct reference to his name. Captain America is not a king. Anyway, just look at this beautiful cover and then check out the epic Kirby craziness right off the bat. Hugs! The thing from the black hole star. I think the monster's saying, okay, inside one of the good ads, a beautiful Marvel t-shirt ad with an amazing Excelsior Stanley shirt. I've never seen any of these shirts at a con. I wonder how many even exist nowadays. I mean, just the regular shirts, let alone the Stan Lee shirt. I did find one of the Stan Lee shirts on Etsy for 4,000 Danish kroners, or about 570 US smackers. Imagine owning that. That would really be something. Oof. Okay. I had to include this page. Just an example of Kirby's amazing ability to draw totally crazy looking shit. Anything to do with space or cosmic stuff, he simply couldn't be beat. And look at this spaceship. It looks like probably a Nike Air Force is going to make a shoe out of that at some point. And this next page is just hilarious. It is never going to make me not laugh. Seeing this ridiculous, gigantic, crazy, open, scary monster mouth with the helpless Captain America in the background. I've bought this comic 3 different times because, you know, Marvel loves to resell their old comics. So does DC. Reprint, rebox it, try to make it look new, whatever. I've fallen for it several times, but I'm always happy to open it up and see this lovely, big old, scary looking face. And here is a random back cover of Jack Kirby's Captain Victory, featuring the Goozle Bobber. Captain Victory is what's called late Kirby. Art wasn't as good because his eyesight was going, but the insanity was turned up way past 11. It is absolutely the craziest stuff he ever did in his whole career, and I'm here for it. It's every issue is bananas. But so this reoccurring character in the back, the Goozle Bobber, kids across America are going gaga for the Goozle Bobber.
Goozle Bobber. Goozle Bobber. That might be a good catchphrase, actually. Goozle.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll think about that later. For now, here are these super friends not giving a shit about someone coming to murder them. This cover kills me. They're all just sitting there while Futuro in the background is coming in to murderize them.
I know what's going on. They're all high, man. Super stoned. Robin's got the munchies. Aquaman's drinking water because he's got cotton mouth. Look at Wonder Woman's face. She's high.
Yeah, actually, she does look pretty damn stoned. And what happens on the cover here in the tradition of comic books in the 70s and 60s, 70s, 80s does not happen in the actual comic book. That is a classic bait and switch they use to trick children and adults like me into buying them. And here's Futuro kicking all their asses at once. Has anyone in the history of Justice League or Super Friends ever kicked their ass at all in one panel? Sorry, just drinking more water. He is like punching Wonder Woman in the head, punching Batman in the stomach while he's kicking Aquaman, dodging Superman, and dodging Robin all at the same time, and looking like he's doing a cool, funky dance. All right. And now, if you've read as many comics as I have and obsessed over the ads, like I do, when you find a new one, it's very exciting, especially one as crazy as this. Be an Indian, clown, monster, or just be the Hulk and kiss. But wow, that's some very special makeup. Just don't read all the text too close. And finally, the last comic of interest. Let's drink a little more water. Last comic of interest I bought. I happened to buy two different adaptations of War of the Worlds. I just randomly, because I was there for a few days and I just didn't notice, which makes for a fun contrast. Here is the cover, one's from 1955, one's from 1976. Here is the cover from the 1955 one, from Classics Illustrated, which is a really neato comic book series that adapts literary classics of all kinds. There's a bunch of these, maybe even 100. So you can kind of see the old school art. Looks cool, very like painterly. Not that exciting though, not a lot of drama, but still, accurate. I mean, to the book, what the book describes. And then here is the Marvel 1976 version. A little more exciting and dynamic. Those faces at the bottom and those hands are direct Jack Kirby influences. He was famous for putting those in panels to make it more exciting, and it works. And Chris Claremont of X-Men fame did the script, which is cool. And here are the aliens from the 1951, which I think are quite adorable, actually. A little bit of Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Energy. And then here's the same aliens from the 1976 version. Octopus-like, a little less personable with no pupils. So a little more alien-looking, I'd say. I like them both, though. And then here's the alien craft from the 1950s version, which looks cool, but kind of like a satellite dish, a mildly scary satellite dish. And finally, the 1976 alien ship, which has a lot more energy, it's more menacing, but to be honest, both are great. I feel like I could do an entire show just breaking down the difference between these two versions of the comic books.
No one's watching that, dude. No one.
I reckon you're probably right. Well, that's the coolest stuff I found at Comic-Con. I'm just happy you can still find comics in my price range. I can still find comics in my price range. It gets harder and harder every year. When I first went in the late 90s, there were 75-cent comics, which is so ridiculously cheap. Now the cheap stuff is $5 maybe, and the average price of comics just in long boxes is like 20 to 80. It's like $80 comics in long boxes, which seems crazy to me. But if you dig around, you can get some deals. For now, anyway. And that's the show. Thank you for watching. Any final thoughts, Boxxy?
Zippity goozle bobbers, everyone. Stay in school and now don't do drugs. Bye-bye.